Good morning. So over Christmas time, I bought and built a new bookshelf because basically I was tired of digging through boxes of books. I had tons and tons of books. And when I wanted to clarify an idea or find a quote, it was difficult because they're all put away. So I picked this up and populated it and organized it, and it's all working out well, except for one problem. This fishbowl is supposed to be full of M&Ms. And it was full of M&Ms, the good ones too, the peanut ones. Those are the good ones. But the problem is that because the schools are closed, Noah's been in with me doing school. So he comes in and shares the office with me and does all his classwork. And what that means is that our M&Ms have taken a serious hit. So we decided that we were going to rectify that. So we decided that we would go out more and buy more. So we went to the grocery store and we looked at the M&Ms there, and they have the big bags, and it takes about 2.5 of the large bags to fill up that bowl. And I looked at the price. I thought, you know what? I bet you if we go to the bulk store, things will be cheaper there, because that's the whole premise of the bulk store, right? Is that as consumers, we're not paying for all that expensive packaging and all the plastic and foam and all that kind of stuff. So things are supposed to be cheaper there. So we left the M&Ms. And we went to a bulk store and had a look. Now I was actually quite surprised that not only were the M&Ms not cheaper there, but they were actually more, and not just a little bit more. They were actually 50% more. So they were a lot more at the bulk store than they were at the grocery store. And it's not like they were on sale at the grocery store. It was nothing like that. And it kind of really got me thinking, you know. I started wondering what accounts for this huge difference. And it's kind of easy to see that there's two things going on. One is just incremental change, right? So as prices go up, nickel here, quarter here, they, just keep constantly bumping the prices. Each price increase is fairly inconsequential on its own, but over time, all of these increases accumulate, and it becomes quite substantial. Like that was actually a lot more expensive there. And the second issue, and I think this is the more important one, is actually losing focus, losing the bigger picture. So the store was no longer adhering to its core value, right? There's prices are supposed to be lower because of the lack of expensive packaging. But not only is the price not lower, it's incomparable. Like, you can't even compare it with the other stores. Now, I'm not trying to change anybody's shopping habits. I'm not for or against these stores. That's not the purpose of the video. But the lesson that I want to draw is that it's really easy for us to get lost when we're living with our heads down, when we're only concerned with the details of day-to-day life. The little things take over, and we lose sight of the big picture, by not going back to our core value of, what are we supposed to be doing here? We actually forget our reason for being. Now, certainly that's true in the store that I was at, but is that true of us as a church? And I would say, absolutely, it applies to us. It's so easy to get bogged down in all the details of the everyday and lose sight of our greater purpose. What's our big picture here? The church is reformed and always reforming. That's the expression. We constantly have to keep lifting our eyes up to heaven and refresh that bigger picture of what it is that we're supposed to be doing. Because we do have a purpose here. We do have a role, and it's not necessarily to go to committee meetings and stuff like that. And I find especially now, as we live through this pandemic and all the lockdown, we very easily become insular. We're all hiding out in our own houses. We need to be reminded, I think, of who we are and what it is that we're supposed to be doing. And this applies to me personally as well, too. I don't exempt myself from this. So the day-to-day things take over, right? And I find myself all bogged down and, am I supposed to be producing videos or calling congregants on the phone, writing reports, writing manuals, praying for our community, writing sermons? Am I supposed to be continuing my studies to make me a better pastor and better servant? And the answer is yes, right, to all of these things. All of these things are important. But as important as they are to keep the church functioning, it's actually secondary to the core calling of the church, which is to be witnesses. And this is what Jesus commanded just before he ascended into heaven. He said, be my witnesses, here, the next country over, the whole world. This is what you're supposed to do. And it's really hard for us to be witnesses during lockdown. Our traditional ways of witnessing are just completely out, right? And it's hard to be a witness for, some of us probably even go a couple of days where we don't even see another human face. So how do we live into that calling to be witnesses? Instead of getting bogged down in our day-to-day details, I'd like to encourage us all to just step back and have a moment of quiet, a moment in which we seek truth, that we try and regain that vision that God is continually offering to us, a vision of a world in which everybody is valued, nobody is left behind, a world in which we celebrate God and we celebrate every life that God has created. And then we find ways to live that vision out in whatever corner of the world that we happen to occupy, in whatever ways that we can. So I'd like to close with the words that Jesus spoke as he spent his last night serving, washing the feet of those who walked alongside him. This is our big picture. A new command I give to you: love one another. As I have loved you, so you must love one another. And by this, everybody will know that you are my disciples, if you love one another. And that's our big picture. That's our focus. That's our calling.